Hey everybody, it's been a while. I've gotten bored with the Mazda, so there won't be any new content with that. I'm actively looking to get something new to replace it, and hopefully I'll be getting rid of it soon. Other than that, I figured I'd start a new series based on some of the cars I get to drive for work. I'm a district sales manager and I travel all over Kentucky and southern Indiana, and part of that involves me renting cars for work, for travel. And I figured I'd share some of the rides I get anytime I come across something that I figure is cool to myself. So today we are in a new Toyota Tacoma TRD off-road. This is the new body style, new powertrain. So it does have the 2.4 liter turbo 4-cylinder engine. This particular one is a 4x4 double cab with the 5-foot bed. So I just wanted to go over a couple things that I enjoy about it, some things I don't like, so on and so forth. So we'll start with the looks. The back is very new gen Tundra-esque. The taillights look quite similar to the Tundra, as well as the shape, box fenders, all of that. 33-inch off-road or all-terrain tires on the TRD Pro wheels. And then you have all LED lighting. Now, this being the TRD off-road and not the Pro, it does not have the Fox shocks, but it does have a slightly different suspension than the regular Tacomas. A couple things as far as the interior goes. We'll get in the back seat here. This is with the driver's seat set up with my driving position, so I'm about 5'8". Decent legroom, but nothing too crazy. You have the standard Toyota infotainment system, lots of physical knobs and buttons for the climate control, and then full digital gauge cluster as well. You have your different drive modes, tow modes, crawl control, your 4x4 selector, and then your rear diff lock and unlock. So this is a pretty lightly spec'd TRD Off-Road Pro. Being a rental kind of makes sense. They're not going to load it up with a whole bunch of features. But a couple complaints I have with the interior are for what's likely a $45,000 to $50,000 truck. No heated seats. That kind of drives me nuts, spending this much. If you were to spend this much on a vehicle, for it to not have heated seats. Other than that, seats are pretty comfortable, especially for being cloth. Everything is pretty well thought out as far as storage and the doors, all of that. All the controls are easy to reach. And then with the new powertrain. So I drove a 2023 4Runner a couple weeks ago for rental, and that still had the old bulletproof, tried and true 4-liter V6. With this having the 2.4 turbo, first impression was it's a lot more peppy, the 4-cylinder. A lot more torque down low, it accelerates quickly. The 8-speed transmission that's paired to this thing does a good job being in the right gear, not gear hunting. It's exceptionally quick when shifting, when in sport mode. Other than that, I mean, no real complaints with the car, other than, seems like with every new Toyota, I have to turn off the lane keep assist and just completely disable it. There's a lot of construction in Kentucky and in southern Indiana where I work, and when you're going through those construction zones, the steering wheel likes to pull you in whichever direction it feels the lines are supposed to be. So that gets annoying. I turn that off. I turn that off on pretty much any rental that has lane keep assist as an available feature. So pretty straightforward. As far as ride quality, it's a comfortable ride. It does truck things, like when you hit expansion joints or uneven surfaces, the back end kind of rumbles and vibrates around and stuff. But I feel like that's pretty normal when it comes to trucks, especially mid-sized trucks. They're not really suited towards luxury. They're meant to haul stuff around and go off-road. So this does a great job at that. Fuel economy wise, you'll see I've put about 700 miles on this car or truck so far this week. The dash readout says 21.7 miles. I'd say 90% of the miles I do are highway. Probably 5% is idle time in a parking lot, and then the rest are city streets. So pretty average. This is pretty much on par with the V6 in the 4Runner that I drove a couple weeks ago. So really, I don't know about there being a efficiency play with going to the 4-cylinder, but I mean, Toyota's got to do what they got to do with all these EPA mandates and everything they got to do. But for anybody concerned about driving, whether it's the torque, the power, this is definitely a more lively motor than the V6. So no complaints about that. When it comes to the lighting, I mentioned earlier that it has full LED lighting, both front and rear. The LED projectors on the front of this thing are fantastic. The cutoff is very sharp. It's got a nice blue tint to it. The range is nice and far, and they got a good amount of width as well. And then this one's equipped with LED fog lights. They're not the rigid industry ones that you'll see on the TRD Pro models, but they do a good job of filling out the gap between the bumper and where the low beam starts on the road. Other than that, only point of base I really have to compare this to is the current generation 4Runner, which is outgoing, with the new model coming in with the complete redesign, the new powertrain, so on and so forth. And then the Grand Highlander that Michelle and I picked up for our family car and her daily driver, which I'll do a video of that here in the future, going over some of that. But I will say it's a good truck, but for 50K for whatever this truck likely costs as spec'd, it is missing a few things that I would like to have in a car that costs this much, mainly being the heated seats. I'm not a fan of cloth seats as well, but I get it. This is a truck. You're going to be getting in and out of it dirty, and you probably don't want to ruin your leather. Granted, I think leather's a little easier to clean, but does the job. And with the way prices are for everything these days, 50K is almost normal now for a new vehicle. So that is what it is. But I'll keep doing little videos like this in the future, and then I will start a series on our new family car, and then eventually, once I get my new daily driver and replace the 2013 Mazda Speed 3 that I have that I'm bored to tears with, I'll start a series on that as well. Anyways, I will see you later.